All right, good afternoon, and welcome to my webinar today. It's called Nearpod and Canvas Together at Last. My name is Brian Dean. I'm a digital learning facilitator here in Garland ISD. My Twitter handle, as you can see, is Brian Dean EDU, so please follow me. We love to share and collaborate over there. So we're going to go ahead and get started today. So let me stop sharing my screen and just kind of tell you what we're going to be doing today. Welcome, Ashley. Glad you're here. Um, I put a link in the chat. So let me share my screen real quick and kind of show you how I'm going to run the training. Um, we're going to run it through a Canvas course. So in the chat, I just dropped the link there. This is what it's going to take you to, is a DLT webinars course. As we do more trainings throughout this fall and spring, this will grow. But right now, this Nearpod and Canvas Together at Last is where you will want to go. Also, if you need to join this course, let me turn on a fancy cursor that I have. This might help here. To join this course, just bit.ly/DLTPD. Okay, that's bit.ly/DLTPD. So when you join the course, it's going to ask you, of course, to log in with your GISD, email address and all that good stuff. But when you log in here, you're going to be able to quickly get to any of our trainings. So on Thursday, Miss Martine Brown, also a digital learning facilitator with me, and I think she's in this call as well. She's going to be doing a webinar on Give Genially a Go. So on Thursday, this link will be live for you to join. You'll click on my link, Nearpod and Canvas today. Just so you know, our upcoming trainings, getting tongue-tied there, are listed here. We've embedded them. So if you're wondering, oh, what's coming up next or what's coming up next week, you can just come here and the titles, the date, time, and then the link to join are here. Like so, I'm doing this one, Canvas and Nearpod Together at Last. Martine's doing, there's only 2 this week. Looks like we have 6 next week. Wow, that's incredible. So feel free to hop back in and join us there. Okay, so if you're in the course with me, go ahead and click on Nearpod and Canvas, and it'll take you to this page. And this is really where I'm going to be driving today. And kind of sharing resources with you guys here. So just so you know, off the top, this is not a training per se on how to use Nearpod. We're going to, of course, talk a little bit about that, but we're really going to talk more about how do you start a Nearpod and then how do you run it in Canvas, okay? We have 2 really exciting options for you to do that. So let's just take it away. If you're not super familiar with Nearpod, you'll want to attend another training that's really over Nearpod. But basically, it is formative assessment tool to end all formative assessment tools. Okay, a lot of people get Nearpod and Pear Deck kind of confused, or not confused, but they just kind of think that they compete with each other a little bit, and they might, but really they're unique. Okay, and our district has Nearpod Premium available for all 6th through 12th grade teachers. Okay, and then of course, Pear Deck Premium is for all teachers. So my elementary teachers out there, if you're watching this, later, because we're going to archive this and you can watch it, don't be sad. You can still use Nearpod. Okay, I'll just show you in this webinar today how you guys need to use Nearpod. I'm going to also show the secondary teachers how they can use Nearpod. So yeah, formative assessment tool, just hands down, it's amazing things. So you can teach live, meaning you can control the presentation and you can control what your kids are looking at on the screen, or you can do student paced, which is perfect for virtual learning, right? When you're not with them, they might be jumping on the course later, okay, and not live. And then front of class is new. But what that is designed to do, front of class, is for teachers who don't have one-to-one devices with their students. They can still use Nearpod and just present it like on their projector. Okay, so that's it. So let's kind of jump in real quick. So to access Nearpod, you can just go to nearpod.com, or I provided this link for you here, which is going to take you to Nearpod. Um, Obviously, for the purposes of this training, we're going to look at what teachers can do. Okay. Students would obviously enter the code that you have for them, and then admins, this is for admins over campuses, right, that have Nearpod for schools. I'm getting my tools mixed up. So teachers, you don't need to sign up for free because you already have an account. By clicking log in, what you want to do is choose with Google. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set a clock for like 2 minutes, a timer for 2 minutes. Okay. And I would like you guys to get signed into Nearpod. Okay. So let me turn off my camera. We're going to do 2 minutes, get everybody signed in, and then we will keep going. Okay. So I'll leave my screen here. So when you get signed in, you should be signed in. You should see a screen like this. Okay. I'm going to try a little poll while I do this. And yes, Martine and Ashley, you can participate in this if you want to. So we are going to just basically, when you're finished, go ahead and tell me that you finished the task, or you could say that I'm just watching for today, and that's fine. Okay, obviously, if you're watching this back, you're not live, you're not going to be able to do the poll. So I apologize about that. Okay, so I think that's good on time. I got to see if anyone answered my poll. Oh, no one answered it. That's okay. No problem, guys. So let's go hop back in. So now that we're in Nearpod, let me just do a once over on it. So this is your library, and you can see that it says my library over here on the left side. So I obviously have several different Nearpod presentations, okay, that I have either built myself or that I've gotten from the Nearpod library, okay. Reports, I do not have students in a class, so I'm not really going to have a whole lot, but this is where you would find reports for what your students do in the Nearpods. Okay. Subplans, this is kind of a feature if you have Nearpod for schools and students have, or sorry, subs have access there. School library, this is like a shared, think of it like a shared drive, if you will. So schools that have Nearpod, i.e. all of our 6th through 12th grade campuses, they could actually use this library. Now I'm connected to the whole Garland ISD, but you would be connected to your campus, right? Like your specific one out there. So y'all could have a whole school library of lessons. Same with the district. So this could be a hub of resources, and we do have a few things in there that, like our ELL department, you can see Brett Goslin there has shared a few. So that is basically what school library and district library is. But Nearpod library is where it's at and what we're going to kind of talk about today. Okay. Let me jump back over, make sure I'm staying here. Okay, cool. I want to talk about the Nearpod library for a little bit. Again, how did I get there? I want to show it to you one more time. Right here, the Nearpod library on the left side. You're going to click there. Now, you can just scroll through, so you can see that they're kind of filtered. They have featured. Okay, so these are either collections or specific Nearpod lessons that they're featuring right now. Or you can click on videos, which this is new, but they're videos aligned to grade levels and subjects. Okay, Netflix. Let's see what's going on in there. I've not been in here before. Oh, that's cool. So these are lessons. Let's see what bookmarks is. This is a show I know on Netflix. Okay, so they have a whole bunch of, look at this, videos with the stars of Netflix. Tiffany Haddish, hilarious, not appropriate for children, but I'm sure she's appropriate there. Oh, Marsai Martin from Black. Anyway, so these are all videos that you could import into your Nearpod presentations, okay? So let me go back to the main Nearpod library. So anyway, those are videos. You also can filter by lessons, okay? Math, social studies, things like that, by publisher, um, then premium packages, which I believe our 6th through 12th would have, and then by holidays and events. But you could also just straight up search for fractions. Okay, and it would filter out like tons of standard aligned lessons related to fractions that you could import. Okay. Another way you can do it is come over here and search by your state standard, which is the great state of Texas. So you can filter by lessons only or lessons and videos. I'm just going to do lessons right now. I'm going to search for Texas. And why don't we say ELAR, maybe 5th grade, and you can pick a strand if you want to. You can get super specific. Now you're going to limit your options because there's not necessarily a lesson for, every minor strand, but you can try. But I'm just going to leave it on 5th grade ELAR, Texas TEKS here. So maybe your students need to practice some work on their possessives in the language arts. So you could preview this lesson and you could add it to your library here. Okay. So that's really all that I wanted to share about the Nearpod here. We're really not going to get into building a Nearpod, but I wanted to kind of show you how to get in, right? How to log in, and then how to find a lesson and some content that you want to use with your students. Okay. So next up on our agenda, I'm going to check here, and also if you have any questions, let me check the chat. We probably don't, but if we do, oh, awesome, Ashley. I love the multitasking. That's phenomenal. Seriously, I'm not being sarcastic. That is phenomenal. Self-care, what it's all about. All right, so we've looked at accessing Nearpod. We have searched the lesson library by state standard. I want to talk next, and this is for all GISD teachers that I'm currently talking to. In just a minute, I'm going to start talking to secondary, right? But I want to talk about all GISD teachers, how to add a rubric to a Canvas course. So when you import a assignment or a Nearpod lesson into Canvas, you really want to have a way to kind of quickly assess the kids. So if you've never built a rubric, we're just going to do it real quick. So I'm going to click on rubrics. And I'm going to add one. And I'm just going to call this my Nearpod rubric. Okay. So here I'm going to talk about, maybe I'm going to call it Nearpod lesson completion. I'm going to add one more rating. Okay. So we'll call it 1 to 2 requirements missing. All right, so here on my 5 points, I'm going to call it all requirements fulfilled. You can see I've typed that in before on this. For the 3 points, maybe 1 to 2 requirements are missing. Maybe for the 0 points, I'm going to say more than 1 to 2 requirements. Obviously, you can make this rubric how you want to make it. Okay, so that's just going to be an easy way. It's a 5-point rubric on if they've created. And I'll show you what I'm talking about in just a minute. So now I have a rubric. Okay, so it is now time for me to talk to my secondary teachers. Okay, on how you can use Nearpod. Elementary, so you can still pay attention. You're going to kind of learn a lot about it, but you're not going to be able to do exactly what I'm showing right here. Okay, so all of this documentation is included here for you, but I'm going to go ahead and switch over to another course. Okay, that I have one for Nearpod. Okay, so I have a module here for Nearpod lessons, and I'm going to quickly create an assignment. Okay, and I'm going to call it Nearpod lesson 1. Okay. Why don't I just indent it one time and hit add item? Okay. So when I go in to edit the assignment, remember that rubric that I created? This is where I could add it. And I'm going to click rubric. I'm going to click find. You can create one right there, but I already made it. So I'm going to find my um, rubric wherever I made it. I may have made it in another one. Did I make it in the other one? Maybe I did. Yep, I did. Oh well, I can add it here. No big deal. All right, so I'm going to use my Nearpod rubric there. Okay, so I attached it. You want to do that first before any kids turn it in. Otherwise, you can't really go back, I don't think, and add the rubric there. Okay, so I'm going to click edit. And, on the rubric, it's only worth 5 points. So I want to make sure those points line up there. You probably want to give students like directions here. I'm not going to write out too many, but maybe you tell them what to do on the Nearpod lesson, blah, blah, blah. So whatever you want to say, something very eloquent, I'm sure. So I am going to, in my submission type, I'm going to do an external tool. We're going to say find, and this is the cool thing. You should all already have Nearpod here in the list. Okay, again, elementary, you're going to get, sadly, an error if you try to do this, and I'm going to show you in just a minute how you can do Nearpod as well. So I've already signed in to Nearpod, so that's why it took me right here. But it's going to ask you to sign in. So remember, sign in with Google, right? Now you can see, look, I added this possessives one just a minute ago, so it showed up here, okay? So I actually want to do the Ruby Bridges one. Now, you have to make a choice, okay? Do you want to do live participation, meaning everyone's participating in this at the same time? Or do you want to do it student pace, which means students do it on their own time and turn it in later? It's up to you, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and say student paced just for right now. I'm going to select that. And then you can choose who to assign it to. Let's make sure my points are done right. Oh, due date. You can maybe give it a due date of like tomorrow. That'll work. And I save and publish. So then the Nearpod lesson just lives right there. And you can see that the student would just type their name in and go. Okay, so let me come over here real quick. And I'm going to do student view and kind of show you what this is going to look like for the student. So come over to modules. So it's just calling it a test student because it knows that I'm testing. I'm going to join, and then they can move through and completely interact with Nearpod here inside of Canvas. Okay, they can even take notes over here. They can choose a method to save their notes. So they might want to say save to Google Drive or send via email. If they do save via Google Drive, they'll just sign in, and then any notes they then take will automatically archive there to Google Drive, which is really nice. Okay, so they're talking about windows and mirrors. How do you, is this a window of what you're seeing, or is it an experience that you personally can identify with? Okay, so as the students go through here, we're going to share thoughts here. I'll say this was a window view for me. And then they can post it. Okay, so go to the next one. I'm doing this for a reason, trust me, because I want you to see what it comes out on the other side. Let's see. I have read it. That's how I'm able to answer this. Let's see. Okay, so this one is asking the student to actually complete the sentence by using the drawing tool. So I'm not going to do this one for a reason. I'll show you in just a second. Okay. All right, so that's it. So I'm going to go home, and then I'm going to leave student view. Get back here to the lesson. Okay, so now that I had a test student fill it out, I'm going to click on speed grader. and this is really nice. Okay, and this is what I wanted to show you. So you see a report. Okay, so the test student had 50% participation because there was some things that I didn't do. Obviously, I'm the only person in the class so far that did it. Gives their name. When I scroll down inside, it gives me their answers to the polls. Okay. Also on the collaborate board, I can click on it and it should launch the board for me. Maybe not. I thought it did. There it is. Okay. So I can click on the board and I can actually see like what they entered in on the board and then look, immediately go back. Oops, I closed it. My bad, y'all. You could go right back to the speed grader. Okay. And go on that way. So you have documentation really nice and clean right here in speed grader. So you can also remember that rubric that we made. You can click view the rubric. Okay. So did they do all 5? No, they didn't. They are missing 1 or 2 requirements. So I'm going to click there. I'm going to save that and give them a score of 3 out of 5 and submit that. So that is pretty simple on how you're grading their Nearpod activities there. Okay. So are there any questions in the chat? I want to leave like a minute or so for you to try it out. So if you're watching back right now, go ahead and pause this and go do that, right? Find a Nearpod lesson. I know it's a lot. Find a Nearpod lesson, embed it in Canvas if you're a 6th through 12th grade teacher. If you're not, if you're an elementary teacher, hold on. In a couple minutes, I'm going to show you what you can do here. So go ahead and hit pause now and try it out. So just as a reminder, secondary teachers, we just walked through how Canvas and Nearpod talk to each other through the external tool through an LTI. Okay, we showed how to create a Nearpod assignment. Oh, and also we did a rubric, right? Like how to add a rubric to a lesson. Okay. We also looked at Canvas in the grade book. Okay, and in speed. Really, we looked at speed grader. Okay. So now let me talk elementary teachers. So elementary teachers, remember that you just watched it, the LTI tool. That's what you can't do, sadly, because you don't have the premium. But let me show you what you can do. So let me hop back over to Canvas, to my practice course, and I'm going to add, so I'm going to call this the elementary example. So elementary, instead of doing an assignment, guys, you need to do a page. Okay, so click page, new page, and I'm going to call this elementary example so that we're all clear on that. Okay, and then I'm going to call it Nearpod lesson 1 so we know. Okay, so now you have a page for the elementary folks. So I'm going to click on it and then real quick, we're going to hop over to Nearpod. So in Nearpod, let's say that you wanted to do that same Ruby Bridges lesson, and you also wanted to do it self-paced. Okay, if you wanted to do it live, you would just choose live. Okay, we're going to click student paced. Okay, and we're going to click this embed code. Okay, so you can choose. Do you want this code to appear smaller in Canvas, medium, or large? I'm just going to go ahead and pick medium, but then I'm going to click copy the code. Okay, you can close that out, and then I'm going to switch back over to Canvas. So again, elementary. So you get the lesson that you want to do. Okay, you click either live or student paced. Okay, now I've already launched it, but you would get the embed code right here. Okay, and you'll notice that this is good for 29 days, and then it will expire. All right, so let me hop back over to Canvas, and remember I made a page. Okay, called elementary Nearpod lesson 1. So I'm going to edit this page. Okay, just like I did for the secondary example, I think it's always a good idea to give the kiddo directions on how to do this Nearpod, right? And then hit return. Now, this is a little bit trickier, but you can do it. Remember that embed code you just copied? You're going to click on this HTML viewer. Okay, click there and you switch your screen to this code. Okay, you're going to hit enter one time and then you are going to paste all that code that you got from Nearpod, come back over here to the HTML viewer and turn it off. Okay. And look, the Nearpod appears in there. Now you may think that it's a little too small, and that's, I totally get that. But you can go back and recopy this code here from Nearpod. Oops, where was it? Here, and choose the larger embed there. Okay. And then you can save and publish that page. And so your kiddos would just come here, right? And they would log in here into the Nearpod and they would just complete it on the page. And then you would get your results, guys, elementary, here under reports. Okay. So they would appear here. You just wouldn't get it there inside of Canvas, if that makes sense. So elementary folks, I want to do one other option. Okay. So you can do an assignment, and I'm going to try something and I hope that it works. I'm going to call it an elementary test and see if it works. Because I want to get you where you can use that rubric, because that rubric is awesome. So I'm going to go into this. Remember, this is an assignment this time, and I'm going to add that rubric. I'm going to find it. I think it was under this course. Yep, there we go. All right, so I've attached that rubric. I'm going to edit the assignment. Now, I can't use the LTI tool because I'm elementary, but I could embed it here in the rich content editor, as they say, or the RCE. Okay, so then I'd still give it the 5 points, and I would just leave it as like no submission here. And you would grade it using the rubric, if that makes sense. So save and publish that. All right. So we are coming to the end of our time together, but let me hop over here and let's review some of what we were doing today. So elementary folks, we just used embed code in a Canvas page, right? And we talked about how to find that embed code and then how to put it in there. Elementary, well, and honestly, secondary, you can do this as well. I've included a video here for accessing and downloading reports for your students from Nearpod. Okay, again, not from Canvas. This will be really helpful for those elementary who can't use the LTI tool and the speed grader, but you could go, this tells you how to get them from Nearpod. Okay, so if you're watching this video back, or if you're live now, the webinar is over. I'm going to hang around for another couple minutes and answer questions if you have them, but you want to click Mark as Done at the top of this page, then click Next. And when you click Next, you're going to get a CPE form to complete for credit. Okay, so since there are some folks here that I know are watching live, I'm going to paste it in the chat. But for the rest of you that are watching this back later, that's what you will need to do. Okay, so fill that out and then you are good to go, and you can go back to the home page of our course and you can look at the upcoming trainings. Again, shout out to Martine, who's going to be doing an awesome training on Genially. If you don't know about Genially, you got to come. It's awesome. It'll change your life. No kidding, it changed mine. So that's it, you guys. Thank you so much for being here and for watching the webinar. Let us know if you have any questions. You can always reach me or any of our team at digitallearning@garlandisd.net. We're happy to help you out and collaborate with you. So like I said, I'm going to hang out for another couple minutes and then we will wrap it up. Thanks a lot.